Get ready, gearheads. From monster trucks crushing cars to mansion-on-wheels pickups, these 10 trucks defy logic, physics, and good sense. They're absurd, extreme, and somehow real. Proof that some machines were born to make you gape, laugh, and say, "No way." Which of these trucks makes you question reality and your garage space? Drop a comment and tell us which one you'd actually dare to drive or just stare at and all. Number 10, Bigfoot number 1, the truck that started it all. Meet Bigfoot number 1, the truck that turned the childish urge to drive over abandoned junkers into a full-blown American motorsport. What began as Bob Chandler's ordinary 1974 Ford F-250 4x4 slowly mutated into a mechanical giant. Chandler swapped the stock running gear for military-grade Rockwell 2.5-ton axles, not for four-wheel steering, Bigfoot never had that, but to handle tires so huge they practically required their own zip code. Bigfoot first rolled on 48-inch tires before graduating to the now iconic 66-inch Firestone flotation tires, the oversized boots that cemented its place in automotive folklore. In 1981, during a public demonstration later recognized as the first official monster truck car crush, Bigfoot rolled over a pair of junk cars and unintentionally created an entire genre of entertainment. Someone watching summed it up perfectly. That's a monster truck. And history was set in rubber. Crowds grew fast. By 1982, Bigfoot was filling the Pontiac Silverdome with tens of thousands of spectators eager to watch Chandler's shop truck shred physics and reason. Born as a rolling advertisement for Midwest four-wheel drive, Bigfoot quickly became the mascot of organized chaos and helped inspire the creation of the Monster Truck Racing Association. Decades later, Bigfoot number 1 remains the undisputed OG, part museum relic, part toy aisle icon, and still the benchmark for, I can't believe this actually exists. Some legends drive, this one crushes. Number 9, Sheikh Hamad's 8-to-1 scale Dodge Power Wagon, a mansion on wheels. Think Bigfoot was wild? Meet Sheikh Hamad's 8-to-1 scale Dodge Power Wagon, a truck so outrageous it makes monster trucks look like city runabouts. Built for Sheikh Hamad bin Hamdan Al Nahyan, the Rainbow Sheikh, this machine isn't a vehicle so much as a monument on wheels. It's an exact 8-to-1 scale recreation of a 1950s Dodge Power Wagon, not 64-to-1 despite the internet's occasional exaggerations. This giant tips the scales at over 50 tons and houses 4 air-conditioned bedrooms, a living room, bathrooms, and even a tailgate patio that drops into a desert view terrace. Forget stretching a pickup frame, this thing rides on a custom industrial-style chassis closer to heavy equipment than automotive engineering. Its vast tires come from oil-rigged transport haulers, and its Detroit diesel straight 6 can actually propel the behemoth across open ground. Every steering, suspension, and brake component is fully functional. But despite being able to move under its own power, it isn't road legal. It lives as a working display piece inside Abu Dhabi's pyramid-shaped Emirates National Auto Museum, occasionally driven around museum grounds, but not registered for public roads. Sheikh Hamad didn't just build a big truck, he built a spectacle. If your criteria are size, comfort, and pure, how is this real energy, everything else is just a pickup pretending to be impressive. Number 8, Ford F-450 Superlift, when heavy duty goes absurd. If you thought a standard Ford F-450 was intimidating, meet the Superlift version, a pickup so monstrously modified it makes normal trucks look like Matchbox toys. These builds start with an already hulking Super Duty F-450, then dial everything to 11. Massive suspension lifts, oversized shock absorbers, dual stabilizers, and wheel arches that could swallow a small car. And the tires, the tires. These beasts wear rubber so tall you could probably use it as a jungle gym. Chassis reinforcements, upgraded axles, beefed up frames, because otherwise, physics might intervene and ruin the fun. Engine tunes, exhaust upgrades, maybe even turbo or superchargers are added to haul all that mass without spontaneously combusting. A stock F-450 can tow near 40,000 pounds. The Superlift? Let's just say it's towing dreams, nightmares, and your neighbor's jaw in disbelief. These trucks aren't built for your average workday. They're off-road spectacles, showpieces, and look-at-me machines that trade fuel economy and handling for pure visual dominance. Towering over every parking lot, they're the automotive equivalent of someone strapping a rocket to a bull. Sure, practicality suffers, high center of gravity, bouncy ride, and possible legal headaches, but that's the point. The F450 Superlift isn't here to work. It's here to exist, to awe, and to make you question what's sane in truck culture. And yes, despite all reason, it does exist. Number 7. Dodge Little Red Express. Too fast for emissions laws. Meet the Dodge Little Red Express, the truck that didn't just bend the rules, it sprinted right past them in a cloud of V8 thunder. In 1978, Dodge took advantage of an EPA classification quirk. Light trucks, regardless of GVWR, weren't required to run catalytic converters until the 1979 model year. Instead of building another workhorse, Dodge stuffed in a high-output 360 cubic inch police interceptor spec V8, tuned to breathe freely through true dual exhausts and those now iconic vertical chrome stacks. Rated at 225 net horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, the Little Red Express shocked America by becoming the quickest U.S.-built production vehicle of 1978 in independent tests, beating many contemporary muscle cars to 60 miles per hour and beyond, even if exact 0 to 100 mile per hour figures were never firmly documented. The 727 torque flight automatic and 3.55 to 1 rear gears turned every green light into an event and every downshift into a public announcement. And visually, well, subtle wasn't in its vocabulary. Bright red paint, gold decals, oak trim bed slats, and those twin smokestack pipes made it impossible to miss. Dodge built 2,188 in 1978. Once regulations tightened in 1979, a slightly toned-down run of 5,118 followed. Today, the Little Red Express isn't just a truck. It's a folklore machine, a collector's trophy, proof that sometimes the boldest performance move is simply spotting a loophole, firing up a big block attitude, and letting the exhaust stacks do the talking. Number 6. GMC Cyclone, a pickup quicker than Ferraris. If you thought pickups were for hauling hay and avoiding potholes, the 1991 GMC Cyclone begs to differ. Built on the humble Sonoma S15 platform, this compact pickup was secretly a rocket disguised as a truck. How fast? Well, strap in. A 4.3-liter turbocharged V6 pumping 280 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque, all routed through a Borg-Warner all-wheel drive system. That meant it launched off the line like a cheetah with a caffeine addiction. 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds? Check. Quarter mile in roughly 13.4 seconds? Check. Beat a Ferrari 348 TS in a drag race? Oh yes. This little pickup humiliated exotic cars while looking like your neighbor's grocery getter. Top speed? A modest 126 miles per hour. But really, it wasn't about cruising. It was about shocking the world. Only 2,995 Cyclones were built, making it a rare collector's gem today. Beyond raw speed, it even offered ABS brakes. Truly fancy for a pickup in 1991, so it could stop as hard as it launched. The GMC Cyclone wasn't just a truck, it was a statement that trucks could outrun Ferraris, make spectators gasp, and still look like they belonged in a suburban driveway. In short, it turned the idea of a pickup on its head, proving that sometimes the most extreme vehicles are the ones you'd never expect. Number 5. Chevrolet C30 Dually Limos, when work trucks go Hollywood. Meet the Chevrolet C30 Dually Limo, the vehicle that answers the question nobody asked. What if a 1-ton Chevy work truck decided to moonlight as a stretch limousine? These beasts start with Chevy's heavy-duty C30 chassis, built for hauling and towing, then get transformed into rolling land yachts with dual rear wheels, massive custom cabs, and interiors so plush they make hotel suites look shabby. Builders go wild. Modern engine swaps like a 5.9-liter Cummins diesel, 6-speed Allison transmissions, air ride suspensions, and custom frames turn these trucks into both showpieces and surprisingly drivable machines. Crew cab or quad cab conversions stretch the interior into a proper lounge, complete with bucket seats, leather trim, subwoofers, and consoles that scream, "I own the road." Some C30 dually limos even blur the line between optical illusion and engineering, lengthening beds and cabs to give the impression of a limousine so long it could double as a small airport runway. These trucks are part vintage Chevy charm, part modern mechanical wizardry, and all absurd. They're the ultimate statement. Why settle for a boring stretch limo when you could roll up in something that could tow your neighbor's house, then pamper them while doing it? Collector interest is high, and it's easy to see why. These C30 dually limos are heavy-duty work trucks on a Hollywood bender, and the result is gloriously over the top. Number 4. Mercedes Unimog U406, unstoppable off-road. If you ever wanted a vehicle that makes rocks, rivers, and gravity itself second-guess their life choices, meet the Mercedes-Benz Unimog U406. Built from 1963 to 1988 with a little over 37,000 units produced, this diesel-driven brute was engineered to go where roads end, and where sanity usually does too. At its core is the OM352 Inline 6, a workhorse famous for low-end torque, bulletproof reliability, and the kind of mechanical confidence only a German diesel can radiate. What truly elevates the U406 above ordinary off-roaders is Mercedes' engineering sorcery. Portal axles provide ridiculous ground clearance. The torsionally flexible frame lets each wheel articulate like it has a mind of its own. And locking differentials plus engageable all-wheel drive ensure traction isn't a request, it's a guarantee. And when it comes to water, the factory fording depth sits at roughly 800 mm, depending on configuration, still enough to drown the ego of most off-road pickups. A 240-bar hydraulic system and PTO ports let it power winches, pumps, snowplows, and practically any implement you can bolt to it, turning the Unimog into a rolling diesel-powered multi-tool. Its 3-point mounting system for the cab, engine, and gearbox keeps stress off major components during extreme frame twist, proving Mercedes didn't just build a truck, they built a solution to terrain itself. From farms and forests to military deployments, fire brigades, and expedition rigs, the U406 thrives precisely where everything else struggles. In short, it isn't just a truck. It's a terrain-crushing, tool-swinging, river-wading legend. While other vehicles daydream about off-road glory, the Unimog U406 wakes up, stretches, and goes to work. Number 3. Ford F-150 Centurion 4-door conversions. When pickups go social. Ever wonder what happens when someone decides a standard Ford F-150 isn't quite enough to haul your entire extended family and impress the neighbors? Enter Centurion Vehicles, the Michigan-based wizards who turned regular F-Series trucks into absurdly spacious SUV-style beasts. By grafting extra doors and reworking rear cabs, often using Ford Bronco roof and quarter panels, they created a 4-door Bronco on an F-150 chassis, complete with shortened wheelbases in some models. Some Centurion conversions could seat up to 9 people across 3 rows, with removable third-row benches or captain's chairs. Luxury touches? Think leather or cloth interiors, wood grain trim, overhead lighting, and even CRT TVs VCRs for in-transit entertainment, because apparently if you're hauling 9 people, they deserve Netflix too. Power came from standard F-Series V8s, or in some diesel variants, a 7.3-liter Power Stroke, blending brute force with towing capability. Some models even kept the Bronco's removable roof section, giving a semi-convertible vibe that turns heads at every stoplight. These trucks weren't mass market, they were bespoke, rare, and now collectible. They proved that pickups don't just haul, they can socialize, entertain, and do it all while looking completely bizarre. The Centurion 4-door conversions are like a stretch limo married a pickup, with a love child that can climb mountains, tow boats, and still seat your in-laws comfortably. Number 2. 1940s Marmon Harrington 4x4 conversions. The OG off-road pioneers. Before monster trucks, lifted pickups, or road-legal tanks, there was Marmon Harrington, the quiet pioneer of American 4x4 engineering. In the mid-1930s, this Indianapolis firm began turning ordinary civilian Fords into true four-wheel drive machines. And by 1937 and 1939, buyers could order MH converted 4x4 station wagons and light-duty trucks long before Detroit offered such capability from the factory. These conversions weren't cheap, often costing more than double a standard Ford. But what you got was a vehicle that shrugged off mud, snow, ruts, and hills with a confidence nothing else in the era could match. The process was meticulous and labor-intensive. Finished Ford vehicles were shipped to the MH facility, stripped of their stock driveline, and rebuilt with heavy-duty front axles, a robust transfer case, reinforced suspension, and, on some models, hydraulic brakes powerful enough to tame the extra mass. Suddenly, civilian woody wagons could venture far beyond pavement, while MH's growing reputation attracted major military interest as World War II approached. Those wartime machines became legends in their own right. The Marmon Harrington Mk2 armored car weighed about 4.5 tons, while the Mk3 and Mk4 pushed towards 6 tons. Despite their mass, they could still manage roughly 40 to 45 miles per hour across open terrain, fast enough to prove MH's conversions were more than exotic curiosities. They were functional combat vehicles used on multiple fronts worldwide. Today, surviving civilian Marmon Harrington 4x4 Fords are rare and coveted, with high-quality restorations winning awards at places like Pebble Beach. They stand as proof that America's off-road addiction didn't begin with giant tires or turbocharged power. It started with clever engineering, bold customers, and a company willing to transform ordinary Fords into extraordinary, shouldn't-exist machines, decades before the off-road boom ever hit. And at number 1, 1970s wildest lifted F-Series and CK show trucks, vintage monsters with attitude. Before monster trucks were a spectacle, the 1970s delivered lifted F-Series and CK show trucks that mixed muscle, mud, and pure madness. Enter the Highboy F250, a nickname born from its divorced transfer case, which pushed the truck higher than most factories' 4x4s of its era. These 67 to 77.5-inch Highboys came with workhorse power plants, 240, 300 straight sixes, and 360 or 390 FEV8s. And today, they're collector's gold. Many have been resto-modded with modern suspension setups, upgraded axles, and swapped-in big blocks from the 385 series, giving vintage steel the grunt to embarrass newer rigs. The result? A 1970s muscle truck that still looks period correct while clawing up terrain that would stop many modern pickups. Chevy fans weren't left behind. The 1970 through 77 K20 and other CK trucks became off-road showpieces, lifted 6 inches or more, wearing huge tires and hiding modern drivetrains under classic square body sheet metal. Some Ford fans even took F100 Sport Customs and dropped in 427 FE builds, old school charm fused with serious power. Crew cab conversions, era-correct lift kits, and wild resto-mods blurred the line between show truck and trail rig. These machines weren't just built for looks. Many were mud bog and early off-road race veterans, designed to survive punishment, not just suburban cruises. But every build had the same message: I'm vintage, I'm lifted, and I'm here to dominate. Today, these 1970s off-road and show trucks are celebrated as the original shouldn't-exist rigs, proof that decades ago, builders had the audacity, creativity, and raw horsepower to turn humble work trucks into rolling legends. These 10 trucks prove that sometimes the line between engineering genius and sheer madness is delightfully blurry. From crushing cars to housing bedrooms, they shouldn't exist, but they do. Whether you're a collector, enthusiast, or just here for the jaw drops, one thing's certain: truck culture has never been this extreme. Which of these jaw-dropping trucks would you actually dare to drive, or just stare at in awe? Share your pick in the comments.